When you think of the Apostle Peter, you think of the rock, the foundation of the church, the man Jesus entrusted with the keys to the kingdom. But what if I told you that the rock trembled? What if I told you there was a woman who held knowledge so powerful, so forbidden, that it terrified Peter to his very core? Her name was Mary Magdalene. When a farmer dug up a sealed jar in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, he found a text that the church had buried for 1,600 years, the Gospel of Mary. This text is not just a story, it is a list of dangerous, mystical secrets that Jesus taught privately to her, and not to the male disciples. Today, we are going to break down that forbidden list. We will reveal the 7 forbidden secrets hidden inside the Gospel of Mary, and as we go through them, one by one, we will show you exactly why this knowledge was a direct threat to Peter's power, why it terrified him, and why he and the institution he was building had no choice but to bury the gospel and erase the woman who delivered it. Before we begin, I want this to be more than just a video. I want it to be a gathering of truth seekers. If you are facing any struggle in your life, any battle or any pain, I invite you to write your prayer request in the comments now. We are a community that believes in the power of prayer, and we will lift you up. If you believe it's time to restore her true legacy, comment with the very title that was stolen from her, Apostle to the Apostles. Each time you like this video, you help another truth seeker find their way to this community. And by subscribing, you are not just joining a channel, you are taking a stand with us, affirming that these hidden stories must be told. We are in this together. Now, prepare yourself. We are about to unlock the first secret. After Jesus departed, the Gospel of Mary tells us the disciples were weeping, confused, and terrified. They said, "If they killed him, how will they spare us?" It is Mary who stands up, not Peter. She comforts them. She reminds them of his promise. And then Peter himself asks her, "Mary, tell us the words of the Savior which you remember, which you know, but we do not." And Mary begins to speak. This leads us to the first, and perhaps most foundational, forbidden secret. Mary's first words are not about building a church, or a new law, or a ritual. Her first teaching is to tell the disciples to look inward. She recounts Jesus' words, "Do not seek the Son of Man in one place or another, for the Son of Man is within you. Follow after him. Those who seek him will find him." Now, let's pause and truly understand what is being said here. This isn't just a comforting phrase. This is a complete reordering of religion. The entire foundation of the future church, the one Peter would build, was based on external authority. It was a hierarchy, an institution. God was out there. Jesus was in heaven, and you, the believer, needed a bridge to reach him. That bridge was the church. Jesus gave the keys to the kingdom to Peter. Peter passed that authority to the bishops to the priests. And the priests, through rituals like baptism and communion, would connect you to God. It was a top-down structure of control. Mary's teaching, this first secret, sets a stick of dynamite at the base of that entire pyramid. She is saying the Son of Man, the divine spark, the Christ consciousness itself, is already inside you. You don't need to go to a temple. You don't need to petition a priest. You don't need anyone to unlock a gate for you, because the door is already inside your own heart, your own mind. This is the core of Gnosticism. Gnosis means knowledge, not belief, not faith, but direct, personal, experienced knowledge. Mary is not telling them to believe in Jesus. She is telling them to find him, inside themselves. Why did this terrify Peter? Because this one idea makes his entire mission, his entire identity, irrelevant. Think about it. Jesus gave Peter the keys to the kingdom, the power to let people in. But Mary's teaching says there is no external gate. The kingdom is within. If people believe they can find God on their own, they don't need a rock to build a church on. They don't need keys. They don't need a pope. This secret doesn't just challenge Peter's authority, it erases the very need for it. It makes the entire priesthood redundant. This isn't a minor disagreement. This is a battle between two different religions. One is a religion of Jesus, based on his Gnostic teachings of self-discovery and inner divinity. The other is a religion about Jesus, based on faith in his sacrifice and obedience to the institution that claims his name. Peter's model was designed for an empire. It was structural, it was controllable, it was scalable. Mary's model was for the individual. It was mystical, personal, and uncontrollable. You can't build an empire on people finding God for themselves, and that is why this first secret had to be buried. Peter, still troubled by Mary's first teaching, asks another question. He asks about the nature of the world, about matter, and this leads to the most dangerous and forbidden secret of all. Mary recounts her private conversation with the Savior. She asked him directly about sin, and the Savior's response, according to the Gospel of Mary, was this: "There is no sin." He continued, "But it is you who make sin when you do the things that are like the nature of adultery, which is called sin." This is, without a doubt, the most radical statement in any ancient Christian text. For 2,000 years, the Church has been built on the concept of original sin, the idea that we are born broken, stained, and in debt to God. Mary's Gospel says that is a lie. So what did Jesus mean? He's not saying you can't do bad things. He's redefining the entire concept. When he uses the word adultery, he's not talking about a physical act. He's using a Gnostic metaphor. Adultery, to the Gnostics, was the improper mixing of two things. Specifically, the pure spirit, which is your true self, getting mixed up and trapped within the world of matter, which is the illusion. Sin, in Mary's teaching, is not a moral crime against God. It is a metaphysical illness. It is a state of imbalance, confusion, or forgetfulness. It's when your divine spirit forgets what it is and identifies with the material world, with greed, with anger, with lust, with ignorance. You are not a criminal in a courtroom. You are a patient in a hospital, suffering from a case of spiritual amnesia. Why did this terrify Peter? Because if secret Hashon made the Church irrelevant, this secret makes the Church's entire mechanism of control impossible. Think about the power structure of the institutional Church. It is built, top to bottom, on sin. Sin is the disease, and the Church is the only doctor with the cure. The Church's power, the power given to Peter, is the power of forgiveness. Whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. This is the key. This is the leverage. Through confession, penance, and the authority of the priesthood, the Church holds the exclusive rights to save your soul from the consequences of sin. But if there is no inherent sin, if sin is just an imbalance that you create, then you don't need the Church's forgiveness. You don't need a priest to save you. You need wisdom, gnosis, to rebalance yourself. You don't need absolution from an institution. You need liberation from illusion. This secret takes the power of salvation away from the external authority and places it directly into the hands of the individual. Peter's model was a courtroom, where God is the distant judge, you are the guilty defendant, and Peter is the only lawyer who can save you. Mary's model was a hospital, where God is the source of health, and she is the teacher revealing the cure, a cure that you can apply to yourself. You can see which model is better for amassing power, for building an empire, for controlling the masses. And you can see why this secret had to be branded as the ultimate heresy and buried in the desert sand. The first two secrets completely redefined the human condition. Secret Hashon told us where to find God, within. Secret Hash 2 told us what sin truly is, an illusion. But the Gospel of Mary doesn't stop there. It doesn't just give us the what, it gives us the how. It provides the most forbidden secret of all, a practical guide, a step-by-step map for what to do with this knowledge. This leads us to secret number 3, the map of the soul's ascent. In the most vivid part of the text, Mary recounts her vision. And in this vision, she describes, in stunning detail, what happens when the liberated soul leaves the physical body. It's not a journey to a pearly gate, waiting for Peter's judgment. It is an ascension, a dangerous climb, upward, through a series of cosmic toll booths, or watches. The Gospel of Mary describes 4 great powers that try to stop the soul. These aren't demons with pitchforks. They are psychological states, the very things that make up the human prison. The first power is darkness, the bond of matter. The second is desire, the trap that binds us. The third is ignorance, the fog that confuses us. And the fourth is the wrath of death, the fear that paralyzes us. Each one confronts the soul. Each one demands to know its identity, trying to trap it. And this is the secret. The soul does not fight them. It doesn't pray to an external God for help. It answers them. It defeats them with knowledge, gnosis. To each power, the soul gives a specific response, a password that proves it is no longer bound by that power's nature. When the soul meets ignorance, it says, "I saw you, but you did not see me, nor did you recognize me. I was a stranger to you." This is gnosis in action. The soul is saying, "I know what you are, and because I know you, you have no power over me." The soul is liberated by knowing itself. Why did this terrify Peter? Because this map leads you around the church, completely. Peter's model of salvation is external. You live, you die, and then you stand before a judgment seat. Your fate is decided by your faith, your works, and, most importantly, your standing with the church, the institution that holds the keys to the kingdom. Mary's map is a personal salvation plan. It's a do-it-yourself ascension. The keys are not held by a priest in Rome. The keys are the knowledge held within your own mind. The passwords are the wisdom you gained in life. This model doesn't just make the church irrelevant, it makes it a distraction. It suggests that the real spiritual work isn't obedience to an external authority, but the inner work of overcoming your own ignorance and desire. Peter's church was a toll booth on the road to heaven. Mary's gospel was a secret map showing a hidden path that bypassed the toll booth entirely. You can't build a global institution if you give everyone the map to escape it. We've established that the Gospel of Mary provides a map for the soul to ascend, and it defeats the powers that guard the path. But what are these powers? Are they the demons and devils that the church would later preach about? No. The text reveals something far more subversive. This leads us to secret number 4. The true enemy is ignorance, not evil. In the Orthodox tradition that Peter would build, the world is a stage for a cosmic war. God versus Satan, good versus evil, angels versus demons. The enemy is an external Forsair fallen angel who tempts you, and you, the sinner, are too weak to fight him alone. You need protection. You need the church, its rituals, its exorcists, and its authority to fight for you. The Gospel of Mary completely rejects this. In the soul's journey, the third and most powerful gatekeeper it encounters is not Satan. It is a form of ignorance, agnosia. The soul defeats this power not with prayer, not with a cross, not with faith, but with knowledge. The soul states, "The root of my desire has been dried up, and the matter that bound me has been destroyed." The power, which is ignorance, is enraged because the soul knows itself. This is the central pillar of Gnosticism. The battle is not good versus evil, it is knowledge versus ignorance. You are not evil, you are asleep. You are ignorant of your true divine nature. The powers that rule the world are not demons, they are systems of control, psychological traps, and illusions designed to keep you ignorant. Why did this terrify Peter? Because this redefines the entire mission of the church. If the enemy is evil, Satan, then the solution is faith and obedience. You must obey the church, which is God's army, to be saved. This creates a structure of dependency and control. But if the enemy is ignorance, the solution is knowledge, gnosis, and awakening. The solution is personal. It doesn't require an army. It requires a teacher. It doesn't demand obedience. It demands inquiry. This places Mary, the one who has the secret knowledge, in the role of the teacher. And it places Peter, who in this text is portrayed as not knowing, in the role of the ignorant. Peter's model needs you to be a soldier. Mary's model needs you to be a student. You cannot control a population of enlightened students. You can control an army of faithful soldiers. Peter's model was a system of management. Mary's was a system of liberation. And for an institution seeking to build power on earth, Liberation is the ultimate threat. This leads us to the next logical question. If we are ignorant, what are we ignorant of? If we are asleep, where are we sleeping? This brings us to secret number 5. The physical world is the prison. When Peter asks Mary about the nature of matter, the physical world we see, touch, and live, in Mary's answer, based on her vision from Jesus, is deeply unsettling. She explains that matter and the physical world were not God's perfect original creation. Instead, they were born from passion or imbalance, an error, a shadow. She teaches that the physical world itself is the temporary cage that traps the divine spark of the soul. The goal, therefore, is not to redeem the physical world. The goal is to escape it. To the Gnostics, your physical body was not you. It was a garment of flesh, a temporary prison for your true spiritual self. The entire goal of life was to gain enough knowledge, gnosis, to be able to shed this physical prison at death and return to the realm of pure spirit, the pleroma, where you truly belong. Why did this terrify Peter? Because this single idea is a direct, 180-degree attack on the single most important event in Peter's entire faith, the physical resurrection. Peter's entire claim to authority, the rock on which the church is built, is that he was a witness to the empty tomb, that Jesus' body was gone, that the flesh itself had been conquered and redeemed. The future Orthodox creed would hinge on this, the resurrection of the body and the life of the world to come. Peter's entire theology was that God's creation, the physical world, is good, and that it will be saved and perfected. Mary's Gnostic teaching says the opposite. It says the physical world is flawed, and the body is a trap. You cannot have both. This isn't a small disagreement. This is a fundamental, irreconcilable difference. Peter's model celebrates the redemption of the world. Mary's model teaches the liberation from the world. If Mary is right, then the physical resurrection Peter's core miracle is irrelevant. If the body is just a prison, who cares if the tomb is empty? Furthermore, if the physical world is a prison, then any institution trying to build power in this world, like a new Roman church, is just another part of that prison. It makes the entire earthly hierarchy part of the illusion. This secret didn't just disagree with Peter, it invalidated his entire life's testimony. We've seen how Mary's teachings completely dismantle the theology of the future church. No sin, no need for forgiveness, no value in the physical world. But her final secrets were not just theological, they were political. They were a direct challenge to the structure of power itself. This brings us to secret number 6, the authority of inner vision. Let's ask a simple question. Where does Mary's authority come from? In the entire Gospel of Mary, she never once says, "Jesus appointed me." She never says, "I am the leader." She never claims a title. Her authority comes from one place and one place only, her personal inner experience. When the disciples are afraid, she comforts them. When they ask for knowledge, she recounts her private teachings from Jesus. When she describes the map of the soul, she says, "This is what I saw in a vision." Her entire claim to leadership is based on direct, personal revelation. Her authority is experiential. Now, compare this to Peter. Where does Peter's authority come from? It comes from an external appointment. It's based on the famous quote from the Gospel of Matthew. "You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. I will give you the keys to the kingdom." His authority is delegated. It's a title. It's an office. It's a political designation bestowed upon him by a higher power. Why did this terrify Peter? Because these are two fundamentally incompatible systems of power. Peter is building a corporation. It's a top-down hierarchy. Authority flows from Jesus, to him, to the bishops, and down to the priests. It's an unbroken chain. It's organized. It's manageable. You know who is in charge. Mary's model is spiritual anarchy. If authority comes from personal vision, then anyone can be a leader. What happens if a farmer in Egypt has a vision? What happens if a woman in Greece has a revelation? How can you possibly build a unified Roman church if any person can claim to have a direct line to God that bypasses the entire hierarchy? You can't. Mary's model of authority is democratic. It's uncontrollable. It's personal. Peter's model of authority is autocratic. It's controllable. It's institutional. This secret was, in many ways, the most terrifying of all. The other secrets challenged the church's theology. This one challenged its existence. If Mary's model is correct, then the keys to the kingdom that Peter holds are worthless, because the door is not in Rome, the door is inside your own mind, and anyone can find the key. This made Mary, and anyone who followed her path, a direct political threat to the entire structure of the church. We've seen the 6 secrets, a list that dismantles the church's theology, its structure, and its entire model of power. But the final secret reveals what was really going on. It wasn't just a theological debate, it was personal. This leads us to the 7th and final secret, the one that exposes the raw human motive behind the entire suppression, the preference of Jesus. In the Gospel of Mary, after she has delivered all this forbidden knowledge, after she has comforted the disciples and given them the secret map of the soul, the other disciples are silent. Then Andrew speaks and says he finds the teachings strange. But Peter does not just disagree. He does not debate the theology. He explodes. He stands up, and he does not attack the message. He attacks the messenger. He turns on Mary in front of all the other disciples, and he says, "Did he really speak privately with a woman and not openly to us?" He's not questioning the truth of the vision. He's questioning why she received it. He's making it about her gender. And then he says the line that reveals everything. The line that exposes the fear, the jealousy, and the rage that truly terrified him. Are we to turn about and all listen to her? Did he prefer her to US? Why did this terrify Peter? Because in that one moment, all his fears came true. It was no longer about theology. It was about status. It was about ego. Peter was the rock, the one Jesus publicly chose, but for all his loyalty, all his public declarations, Jesus still chose Mary for the deepest, most secret, most powerful teachings. Peter's terror was multi-layered. First, it was gender. He could not accept that Jesus would bypass the male leadership and entrust the highest wisdom to a woman. This upended the entire patriarchal order he lived in. Second, it was jealousy. He was the rock, but she was the confidant. He was the apostle, but she was the apostle to the apostles. She simply knew more than he did. And third, it was inadequacy. Her teachings on inner vision, secret #6, proved she had a direct, mystical connection, while he, in this moment, is shown to be reliant on external authority. She had the experience, he just had the title. This final secret is the motive for the crime. The other 6 secrets, the Gnostic theology, the inner authority, the lack of sin, that is why the church, as an institution, had to bury her gospel. But this final secret, did he prefer her to us? That is why Peter, the man, was so terrified. It wasn't just that her model of faith was a threat. It was that she was a threat to him. Her theology was the excuse. Her gender, and the Savior's preference for her wisdom, was the true, forbidden reason for her erasure. So you see, it was never just about theology. It was personal. Peter's terror, his jealousy, his raw, human cry. Did he prefer her to us? That was the spark. The 6 secrets that came before it were simply the fuel. Let's be clear about what this fuel was. A faith with God inside you. A faith with no sin. A faith with a personal map to save your own soul. A faith where the enemy is ignorance, not demons. A faith where authority comes from inner vision. And a faith where all of this was revealed by preference to a woman. This was not just a different opinion. This is a different religion. This is a Christianity that is personal, mystical, egalitarian, and empowers the individual. And it could not coexist with Peter's model. It could not coexist with a top-down, male-dominated, institutional church built on sin, obedience, and the exclusive power to forgive. One of them had to be the truth, and the other had to be branded heresy. And the version that could build an empire, the version that could be controlled, won. And so, Mary's teachings were declared dangerous, her authority was rewritten, her character was assassinated, and her gospel, the gospel that held these 7 forbidden secrets, was buried in the desert sand for 1,600 years. He say very D's until now. It was found. The conversation they tried to end is now open again, and that is where you come in. What do you think? Which of these 7 secrets shocked you the most? And why do you personally think Peter and the early church were so afraid of this knowledge? Let me know in the comments. We read every one. And finally, our journey into the hidden library does not end here. What other forbidden gospel, what other buried text should we unearth next? Thank you for being part of this community.